Being the parent of like a little kid, I think has gotten a lot harder than when I was raising my daughter. She's 23 now, and man, I got to tell you, the decisions you have to make and the things you have to monitor and protect your children from today has gotten a lot harder. What do you give them that's still entertaining, but also aligns with your values? You know, we've talked about WayFM being a product that you don't have to filter, but like if you got Netflix in your house, you got to have the filter on.
And even Disney Plus, you have the same problem.
Oh, well, I'll tell you, Disney Plus has been disappointing to me as a parent. And some of the things they've chose to put on there, and like you got to watch it, you know? And that's why it's so nice to have something. If I was raising little kids, I would do PureFlix subscription, man, because you've got content on there that you're not having to filter out. And as a parent, I mean, I know we want to be involved in our kids' lives, but sometimes you need to park them in front of the TV and take 10 minutes to yourself. That's why PureFlix is a great option for families. You got family stuff, obviously. They're even dabbling in some drama. Yes, and PureFlix originals. Like I saw the movie on their Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters, and I have to tell you,
you cried.
I did. There was 3 times, not once, 3 times.
I did.
I wept, and I was moved, and it was a great movie. And I think if I was raising my child now, I think PureFlix would be definitely a part of my family's entertainment plan.
So if you'd like to try PureFlix, text PURE, that's PURE, to 91979 to get your 1-week free trial. Faith and family entertainment with no ads on your favorite devices.
Welcome to the Wally Show Aftercast. Those things we did not get to during the course of the show today, including a couple emails I got yesterday in response to something we had talked about. I think we did it during news. It wasn't actually in the Aftercast, and I wanted to respond to these in the Aftercast today because we were talking about the debt forgiveness of student loans and Gavin being able to possibly get rid of like 20 grand in loans, and a lot of people taking advantage of that government program. But I got an email that maybe you're not aware of. I was definitely not aware of it. Said, I heard Gavin talking about applying for the student loan forgiveness. You might want to make sure that he checks into it because some states, including Tennessee, look at loan forgiveness as taxable income. So you know how like if somebody gives you money, it's taxable income, like, or if you earn extra money, it's taxable. So what he's saying is you have to look at this because some states say you get $20,000 instead of it just being free. I just got this wiped off of my taxes. It shows up as income on your tax return. So say you're making, $20,000 if you did this a year, all of a sudden you now are in the eyes of the government making $40,000 for that year, and you're taxed on that extra $20,000. So you have to look into that because it possibly could be a big tax bill. If you don't have a lot of write-offs, you can't offset that. You could end up paying money in taxes that you did not see coming when you thought, I'm getting everything for free. Because I'm telling you, there's no free lunch. Never is anything truly free, But
if there's a world where I pay a portion of it instead of the 10,000 of it, but it is good to be mindful of because I hate to walk into it
because
and be
that's
like,
cash.
Ooh, nothing. Oh, what's this?
Right, because if you're not prepared for it, and then all of a sudden, and say you live paycheck to paycheck, like so many people do, and the people that are like, I need this because I can't afford anything, and then it's like, oh, well, now all of a sudden at the end of this, you have a $3,000 tax bill that you have to pay. You might be super surprised, So it's worth looking into. I'm curious how that shakes out. But then I got another one. It's funny. I got 2 emails about this same thing. It says, hey, first off, love the show. Actually sat next to you and talked to you during a cruise back in the day. Anyway, I was really hurt this morning when I heard you guys talking about the student loan forgiveness. You were obviously against it, which is fine, but odd to me. No, I was against it. I still am against it. I don't feel that it sets the right tone for people. I understand that, you have to take out loans to go to school because college has gotten so much more expensive. That's what we need to fix. But to just forgive the debts of people that took out loans to go to school, I don't think is right because you've got other people that made the sacrifices to go to school and pay their debt. I think it sets a really dangerous precedent to people in our society that the government is always going to bail you out and that they're your savior and that really you don't have personal responsibility. You can do whatever you want and somebody's going to figure it out. Get into debt up to your eyeballs. Try that with a credit card company. company. Run your debts up on a credit card company and see what happens. They will come after you relentlessly, and you hope that somebody pays off that bill. Because why not? If the government's going to pay off your student loan, why won't they fix my credit card too? Like it gets extrapolated out. But this got a little odd. Says you were really harsh about it and how it wasn't fair. Our whole faith is based on forgiveness of debts, and that we will never be able to repay, like God's forgiveness for our sins. I think this is a stretch. I think it's a big stretch, honestly. Like, because then you have no personal responsibility in anything. Well, God forgives us our sins, so shouldn't this be forgiven too?
It's like rather than ask for permission, just get the forgiveness you need later. Is probably not the way you want to live life.
Yeah, our Bible commands us to forgive debt in Leviticus. Yeah, but it also says render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. It also tells us to pay our debts, So I think that this is kind of using the Bible to fit a narrative on this one. But I appreciate Jeff. He's like, thanks for the rant. Appreciate what you guys do. You put a smile on my face. We just have a difference of opinion, and that's okay.
Came at it nicely.
He came at it the right way. Like with me, like that's not off-putting. I can handle people having a different opinion than mine. Just come at it respectfully, and we can shake hands and agree to disagree in the end. Yesterday was a really long day for us. We had 2 interviews, and both of them I can't wait to share with you because they were both really good. I think Betty Rock has said, hey, we should take the Micah Tyler interview that we did and just make it its own podcast one day. So coming up, probably after Support Drive, you'll get one full podcast about like his weight loss journey, and it was really good. Like, he was really funny, and he's such a nice guy, but an interesting story and stuff that I never knew about him that surprised me. We'll tip the hat a little bit since it's gonna be a few weeks. He auditioned for the TV show The Biggest Loser. Like, what? Like, I get going on Survivor and things like that, but The Biggest Loser, although I think Survivor would be worse, like, to be honest. I think it'd be a harder show. You're both struggling, but at least you're getting to eat something on The Biggest Loser,
But you have to exercise.
Yeah, they exercised them till they threw up on the first. Like, your first couple days at the ranch was brutal, and so that was interesting. So we'll have that for you in a podcast, and then next week we'll have some of the stuff we did with Walker Hayes, which his story about coming to faith recently was fantastic. Like, I really, really enjoyed hearing where he was coming from, where he's at now, the struggles inside of it, and the struggles he had before, and so it's really good content from him. So that's all coming up. Lady Rock, what do you got?
Nick Kroll, you know him from his roles on Parks and Rec. That's where I know him.
Yeah.
But he's got a new Netflix comedy special that's out. And one of these, I pulled some audio from it. He talks about getting dumped. So I didn't know this, but he wasn't in his first serious relationship until he was 32.
Really? Okay.
But he got dumped. What happened was him and his girlfriend at the time, they go to a wedding of a mutual friend, and he's like crying because, I mean, the ceremony is just beautiful.
It's beautiful.
And he looks over at her and she's not crying. So he's like, okay, that's odd. But afterwards they go home, and this is how it went.
We go home after the wedding, and she's like, Nick, we have to talk. And I'm like, about what? The future? And she's like, sort of. And I'm like, what's going on? She's like, I think we should break up. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? We're great. She's like, no, Nick, we've been talking about this. And I'm like, we have not been talking about this. And she's like, well, I've been talking about it with my friends. And when you're getting dumped, you realize you are the last person to find out that you're getting broken up with. This person has focus grouped all of this. They have workshopped the material, and now they are presenting you with their findings.
That's funny, and it's so true, because, I mean, you talk to everybody else, you get their advice, and it's weird, too, like when you talk with your best friends about something, and then the person that you're going to dump walks into the room, and then it's just that, what's going on? Like, you know something is afoot, but then you write it off like, oh, I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure it's nothing at all. And then, a week later, you get the axe.
Yeah, and I think we don't hear, like, I'm sure it's still a thing, like being broken up with, but I feel like a lot of people are getting more ghosted than they are getting dumped.
Yeah, I think that's harder. I think breaking up with somebody, it hurts in the moment, but it actually gives everybody closure and you know where you stand and you're done. Like when somebody just ghosts you, then all of a sudden you're like, well, what? Okay, are we still? I don't know. Or then you're like, what did I do? I'd love to know.
Yeah, you kind of don't get closure. You're like, they didn't like me, and it's difficult because you have to make sure that doesn't go into your identity and make you think that you're just not lovable.
Yeah,
you have to just kind of move on.
I remember we talked one time with you about dating and like how if you go out on a date, it's kind of stressful because you go into it going, well, what if it doesn't work out? Then I've got to avoid the second and third date questions, and ask like, oh, well, this was fun. We should go out again. And you're on two different pages and you got to like give someone the truth.
Yeah.
And that's never easy. So the ghosting is the easier way to go. But ultimately, I think the older I'm getting, the more and I've tried to protect people's feelings, believe it or not, like my whole life. Like I don't want to hurt people, and so I'll, avoid something or what have you, just because if it's people I love, I don't want to hurt them. But the older I'm getting, the more I am realizing that the best thing you can do for people, even if it hurts in the moment, is be honest with them and just tell them the truth, because it just saves you so many problems down the road. And even if it's like one of those things, like Betty Rock has told me things that she's told people before after like a first date, and I'm like, oh wow, that had to sting, but it was the kindest thing you could do.
Yeah, it doesn't leave room for misunderstanding.
Absolutely. You're dead to me. And I just met you.
Well, pretty much.
But with you though, I mean, I think that's I think that's an important thing in dating. When you're dating somebody and you're trying to figure out if you're going to date or not, I think closing those doors, like slamming them, is probably the better course of action. Because guys are wired like if we think there's a shot, we'll keep shooting, And so, did she really? If you're at all ambiguous, like after a date, a guy will be thinking, oh, I still think it went pretty well. I mean, it's not great yet, but we can get there. You know what? She'll come around, but when you're like, hey, real quick, I'm moving to the moon so that I never have to see you again. You're like, I get it. I'm going to have to travel to make this work.
Yeah. I think too, a part of it comes from me. I am straightforward just because I don't like the awkward conversations that will come from this being like, what is it? What is it? What is it? It's just uncomfortable. So if I can just nip it in the bud, we ain't got to deal with it.
Yeah. I do think that's better. I think it's hard because you're a kind person. You don't want to hurt people's feelings, but you also don't want to settle, and you know what you want, and that's great. I respect the heck out of that.
And also, too, I think we've talked about this. It's probably been a while though. When I was younger, I would get into situations that I didn't want to be in, meaning guys that I was not interested in at all would ask me out. And I realized it was because I was being nice to them.
Right.
I was being kind and giving them attention.
Right.
But it was because they didn't have anyone to sit with, or I felt bad for them. And while that
being a good person.
Yeah, Gavin and I have been on a pity date or two.
They're the best. And while that comes from a good heart.
Right.
It can definitely get you into some awkward situations. And so I forget if I came to this conclusion on my own or if a friend helped me, but I started to realize while I might feel sorry for them, it's not my duty to befriend them. Right. That's where another guy should do that. Now, if it's a girl that I see her sitting by herself and she doesn't have anyone, well, I should befriend her.
Well, men and women read situations completely differently. Because like if I'm sitting by myself and this good-looking girl like you comes over, first of all, I'm going to be dumbfounded. Like, wait, what? Is Brad Pitt sitting next to me?
He's playing a joke.
Yeah, like, why would she come over here? Which one of her friends put her up to this? This is crazy. Like, she's out of my league. What's going on here? So once I got past that, and then I realized you were talking to me, then absolutely, guys instantly jump to that next level and think, oh, well, she's kind of into me, or she's being nice to me. Maybe there's something here, and you move forward. Whereas you were just being courteous and being nice, guys think, oh, there's potential here. Oh, she might be into me, and that's, because we read it differently.
Yeah. So now, if that ever happens again, I'm just more, hey, how are you? Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And I might come across as cold.
Right.
But I don't want to also give the wrong intentions either.
Yeah. I think that would be tricky too, because if you do that, then there are certain people that you never are going to get to know. So you have to be really good at the front of going, I know this is not somebody that I'm interested in any way, shape, or form, and nip it in the bud. But I guess the cautionary tale in that is not writing everybody off early, like kind of thing. Yeah.
Of course not. But also too, like, you don't want to be so friendly to all the different guys that then you're known as the flirt, and then no guy that you're actually interested in is going to ask you.
Would kill to see you flirt.
I don't know even where to begin with that.
Yeah, I don't. No. I don't. That doesn't feel like a skill.
I'm single at 37.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't feel like a skill.
I'd probably end up with 2 straws up my nose and be like, "Look at this trick."
I don't know. The crazy thing is, like, for somebody like me, I'd be like, that girl's amazing.
So desperate.
Everyone else would run from that and be like, that's great.
The level of desperation that you're at. Obviously, I haven't found that.
Yeah. Oh, man. Anyway. All right. Well, you want to do some birthdays?
I would love to, but I can't because we don't have any.
Oh, okay. Well, that was easy. That was so super simple today. Yeah. You know what? If you have a birthday request, you can always send them in, and then also make sure you ask a question, because we like doing questions.
Would you like for a question?
Hey, if you don't mind.
Okay.
If it's not too hard.
This is, and I don't even know if it's true. Guillermo.
Oh, hey, you did it!
It's been a minute.
To his dad.
You did it, because you say Guillermo, and you got it.
To his dad, Guillermo.
Yeah, thank you. Guillermo to Guillermo.
Best dad, you
Senior.
gave everything. Who gave everything for us to have a better life?
Nice.
Question: if you can have a famous dad, who would you pick?
Oh,
I know who I would pick.
Oh, let's start with you then.
Andy Griffith.
Oh,
By
that's
far.
a good one. Yeah, that is a good one.
By far, he is the best.
He had all the answers to everything, and they always came with a little banjo solo, and Opie just learned yeah, Paul. Yeah, and he never seemed like he would get mad about anything.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And
it he doesn't have to play a dad.
Right.
He just needs to be a famous person.
Yeah. At one time, Bill Cosby would have been great. Back from from the Cosby Show days. You're like, he's the best. And then all of a sudden you're like, I can't say that anymore. Boy, a famous person to be your dad. That's a good question. Gavin, do you have anybody?
Yeah, I'd go with Dwayne Johnson. Just a dad I could work out with.
Nice. And so he could spot
me.
you. Yeah.
He could bench me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, man. I'd probably want someone that was different from me. So I could learn something new, maybe. So soccer star Ronaldo. I think because I don't like soccer, and so he could help me love soccer.
Interesting.
And he's super rich, so that'd be good.
And younger than you.
Yeah, it'd be weird.
It wouldn't make sense.
It would be really weird. How old is he? Do you know?
Cristiano Ronaldo's got to be in his 30s.
That's it?
Probably Cristiano.
Who's he married to again?
I have no idea.
Oh, I thought he was married to someone famous.
Oh my goodness, he's 37.
Oh, what?
Man,
he's the same age as Betty?
Still going strong.
That's crazy.
Still going.
Well, he's still one of the top 10 players.
Is that crazy at his age?
Yeah. That's upper echelon.
Rude.
No, it's upper echelon of athletic
sports.
Men.
Yeah.
In sport, you've got kids that are 18 years old playing in the league that are in the prime fitness of their life.
Yeah. And look at you, you're in the prime of your radio
You guys
career.
are the same person.
Is this it?
This is all it doesn't get any better than this. Yeah, look at the rest of your life. You know what? You don't need a mirror. Just look at my face. This is what's going to happen to you.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, this is what this job brings. Oh, I can't wait till you're bitter one day. That's so good.
I refuse.
Yeah, no, I'll get you there. We've already done some work on Gavin. Gavin's turning into a really perfect person.
Thank you
for this job.
Oh my gosh. On that note,
all right, we're gonna
thanks
end
so much
this.
for being a potty.